Hello dear listener, and welcome to a video of me attempting to paint an Ancient Arowana from Zelda's Tears of the Kingdom. Funny story, I discovered in my last video, or after my last video, that the microphone I'm using, which is a Blue Yeti, it has a front, which you're supposed to speak into when you're in the mode I'm in, and was I speaking into the front? No, I was not. There's also this knob on the side called gain or gains, and you're supposed to turn it until you reach the desired audio level, which I think is between -12 and -6 when you're speaking. I didn't know that, but now I do. So we'll call that previous video a learning experience. Speaking of learning experiences, I'm about to have another one in this video. So my goal here was to paint something, as usual, just finish something. But I thought, oh, you know what? I really like the look of those sort of clean, almost paint by numbers, where you sort of fill in a sketch and it looks really nice and crisp. And this is the opposite of my entire personality. I'm not clean and crisp person, like, at all. I'm a 9,000 layers, eventually get it right, fiddle about until the paper is almost soaked through. So I was already setting myself up for failure by trying to be ambitious, but you know, why not? Okay, so here are a few things that I would do differently. First of all, I would not use a blue Tupperware lid when mixing colors, because when you have slightly more transparent colors, it sort of affects what you see, you know. So if you mix blue and something, it might look a little bit more green than it would have if you had a clear Perspex palette. So I'll just, you know, do that next time. The other thing I wish I had done was to make a very clear sketch. I didn't take any time at all to do the scales in this drawing. I just sort of did some squiggly lines to indicate scales go here, and I'm really paying for it now when I'm trying to fill it in with paint. It doesn't really look like fish scales because I didn't take the time. And I don't have enough brain power to sort of correct it in post, as in correct it when I'm painting. So clear sketch, important if you're trying to paint and aren't very good at painting. At this point, things were going quite well, I thought, despite there's one more issue. I also used paper that's not intended for watercolor. So when I used a sort of more thinned out paint, it really became difficult. Like the paper became all grainy, and yeah, use watercolor paper. But I thought I was doing quite well here. You know, I had some nice, strong, thick color. Things were looking good. You know, I was confident, sort of. And then eventually I'm going to get to yellow. And yellow, I didn't know that yellow was this hard to darken. And even despite Googling how to darken yellow, apparently you add purple, I still could not get it to look not muddy. Here you go. Here I am. This is weird. Like, don't look at a reference picture of an Arowana because you'll see how not correct this is. But the face is a little bit too dark and the grays are a little bit too cool. They should have been a bit warmer. But we're going to get to the yellow soon, and you'll see what I mean. Like, I start strong, like solid, nice yellow, and then I start to add something that looks, I want to say it looks a little bit like baby poo or mustard that's been regurgitated, or I don't know what an Arowana looks like when it rots, maybe. Yeah, it was not a good time. I I put a story out about it, and it was so encouraging when an artist friend of mine replied and said, you know what, yellow is really hard to darken because it always looks muddy. And that made my entire day, because I thought I was having some sort of ultra noob brain fart moment and was the only person in existence that didn't know how to darken yellow. Like, haha, what are you doing? You don't know how to darken yellow? You're such a noob. No, it turns out it's hard. So at the end of this video, I think I just smear a bunch of paint on the paper and I try to figure out how to darken yellow. That's one of the good things about forcing yourself to finish a piece like this, is that even though it goes tits up, you still learn something. Like, I would not have learned that yellow was hard to darken or how to do it. I still don't really know how to do it, how to theoretically do it, unless I'd attempted this. And I wouldn't have known that you really should start with a clean sketch if you're planning on practicing painting, because otherwise you have to do two things, and sometimes your brain is not ready for two things. That's more than one thing. It's a lot of things to me. Oh God, here comes the yellow. All right, are you ready? So far so good, right? Like, oh yeah, strong color, like it, bright, vibrant, nice. Oh, if only I knew what was coming next. If only I knew. Do you like my improved desk setup, by the way? I put a shelf from that's not being used in the house and used that as my desk instead because it was prettier. Because my real desk is chipboard from IKEA. So, you know, it has its place, but it's not a super nice here we go. Oh gosh, not a super nice background. Oh, it hurts me to watch this. Like, I feel pain. It's not even the same yellow. See, I try to go over the yellow that I don't like with more yellow. And yellow is such a transparent pigment. Like, you really need to load up that brush and have like zero water in order for it to sort of cover the sketch marks and stuff. I think this is the point at which I ended up with the yellow that I liked, which is, I think, almost out of the tube yellow. I should have just stuck with that. And the thing with gouache is, if you do a wash and treat it like watercolor and let it dry, then enough pigment gets absorbed into the paper that you can paint on top of that, and it's less likely to reactivate. But if you do a really thick layer and then come in with something wishy-washy, it's gonna reactivate. You're gonna get some sort of blended mess. So, lesson learned with gouache. Yes, you can layer, but you need to do the thinnest, oh no, here comes the baby poo. You need to do the thinnest washes at the bottom and then build up to thicker paint. Otherwise, you're gonna wet blend, and if that's not what you want, then... Oh, see, the first one is completely green. I don't know what's happening here. I think I added too much blue. Here's attempt 2. I mean, whatever baby produced this color is going through it. Maybe they changed formula, or they're learning how to digest. Oof, it's bad. Yeah, see, now I try to, at the bottom there, I try to kind of figure out what the heck I'm doing wrong. I'm like, how do I darken yellow without blue? Well, you don't, but you have to add some red to counteract it. Yeah, I gave up at this point and just decided to add an eye. Oh dear. And to think at the beginning, oh no, it gets worse. Now it's just grown up feces all over the page. Oh, the pain. And to think that in this session, I think it was about 35 minutes long originally, I had every intention to also paint that shield. No, stick to fish. Stick to one fish per session. Maybe not such an advanced fish either, like a simpler fish. Like a trout or a porgy or whatever they're called. This one has too many colors. Yeah, so you can see I started okay, and then it just went crazy. And here I try to glaze, and this is where I learned that the color reactivates. Oh. It's really fun to watch your past self make mistakes, though, because now I can look back with 2020 vision and go, oh, you peasant, what were you doing? And next time it'll be better. Failing in public is quite scary. Not in these little YouTube videos. I mean, they're just little, it's like a piddly little vlog, but yeah, hopefully somebody will see this and practice yellow before they attempt to use it. God, I've been really spoiled by digital painting. There's no such thing as, you just sort of, I don't know, do a transparent layer of blue or something over the top and it just looks fabulous and it's easy, and you can color drop as well. I try not to, but you know, sometimes if the color is difficult, then I do. This is how you learn. You mess up. Well, I think that's it. Thank you for joining me for the creation of this absolutely terrible fish. Good night.